So it's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hello, Aston Villa fans, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. On this, I'm going to keep it up. It's Derby Day, not Derby Day. Now, look, I'm being facetious when I say that, because some people have gotten back to me, as they do every time we play Wolves, and say, this is definitely a derby for me. So this is just me hopping ball, as we say here in Ireland. But somebody else who's hopping ball is Paddy, is at a match. So he's on location, not the Villa match, but a match. And his young fella, Stephen, is going to be hopping ball in in an under-21 final today. So Paddy's, you'll be able to see the lovely Clare countryside here behind Paddy. As you can see there, the lovely luscious trees there behind him of the 30th of November. Paddy, how are we getting on?
I'm good. I hope I'm not out of breath with all this walking I'm doing here, but yeah, all good. Looking forward to the game, and I'm just hoping this one doesn't go to extra time, so I'm able to watch every bit of the Villa game today. So fingers crossed.
Good stuff. Excellent. Yeah, look, as I say, we're waiting on the team sheet here. I can see that this Villa have gone live with their own match day piece at the moment. But thank you to all of you guys, to the 200 and odd people that have just joined us here in the first minute or so of this broadcast, and for coming to spend it with us as opposed to spending it with Aston Villa Live guys. That's okay too. Paddy, are you expecting any massive changes to this team sheet today?
Well, the only thing I can nearly put a rubber stamp on is that Malin starts in some shape or form. Whether that's alongside Watkins or not, I don't know. But if he doesn't start today, I don't know what the man has to do.
I think that's fair enough. Yeah, I expect him to start in some way, shape or form today. I'm not interested whether he starts instead of Watkins or not, but I expect him to start. I expect Villa to go attacking heavy in this one. I do, and the reason I expect that is because a lot of people are expecting Wolves to come play 15 men behind the ball if they can at all, if they can sneak an extra 4 men on the field, just to try and get a result. Like a result of any sort against Aston Villa would be a great kind of rising of boats for this team, specifically with a new manager. So it's something that Villa need to get on early, and we need to, Villa need to score a goal early. We can't have this cagey hope they come out of their shell aspect to the first 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 20 minutes of this game at home, because they won't. They will not. They're going to play three at the back, which essentially will be 6 at the back when you factor in that they're going to play their defensive midfielder right on the defender's toes, and the 2 fullbacks will be back in a defensive formation. So Villa need to get at this early, and they need to I would be all of the opinion of, right, Villa win, even if Villa won the toss, kick off in the second half, something like it's just so that we can allow them to have the ball early, so that we can come out, so that we can catch them then when we press high, catch them out of sorts, get that early goal. Villa need to get that early goal today, because we are not good front runners when we absolutely own the ball, and that's the only thing I think that Villa will struggle with today is, the game gets to 50, 60, 70 minutes and it's 0-0. We don't have a massive change of pace in that aspect really with this team.
No, and look, the new manager bounce hasn't happened, and a lot of people expecting it to happen in January. They can't wait till January because they'll be relegated by January the way things are going. So I expect an up in performance. They always do against us, in fairness. And we've had some horrible experiences in the last few years. So let's put this to bed early and get ourselves out the gap with the 3 points, because I'll take a 1-0 if you give it to me now, because that's the most important thing.
Sorry, somehow I opened up the live Villa stream there. I think we have a team. We do have a team out. It's just released. Going to pop this up on the stage here, everybody. So there is our team, and his familiar golf pose. Matty Cash, so we have Martinez, Cash, Konza, Pau, and Dina. Tielemans and Kamara reunite in the 6's position. McGinn, Buendia, Rogers, and Malin starts up top, as we predicted that Malin would start, with Bizot, Lindelof, Maatsen, Lamar Bogard, Ross Barkley, Amadou Onana, Evan Gassand, Ollie Watkins, and Jadon Sancho. That's just an incredibly strong bench that we have there. Every single player on that bench gets in the Wolves team today. And that's not me poking fun at Wolves. That's not me having a go at Wolves or anything like that. The Wolves team has been decimated with sales, and they've actually spent quite a decent amount of money in the off season. They've brought in a couple of players at the 26-27 million mark, brought in another couple of players in the teens, in the 15 to 19 million mark as well. But those players haven't really hit form. And when you look at their bench, a lot of their players that they've brought in are on that bench as well. So it's this team that Villa have put out here is a good team selection. I think that's the team selection that people probably wanted to see. Am I right, Paddy?
I think so, yeah. I don't think anyone could argue with anything that's done there. It's probably, as things stand, our strongest team, given that Ali has gone through a rough period. But I definitely can't argue with any of the decisions made there, and I expect nothing else but a win today. As you correctly say, they sold their prize assets, Wolves. They haven't replaced them well enough to stay in the division, and they look like a team that's doomed. They look like we did 10 years ago, heading into the championship. So, unfortunately for them, and unfortunately for the West Midlands, I think that's. I think you mentioned about a derby. It's not a derby, but it's the closest thing there is to a derby. So we like to have that kind of fixture around. So I would prefer if they stayed up, but it's not going to be, I don't think.
Yeah, I'd actually love to get a Wolves fan on the podcast and talk to him about the last 10 years of their business model of working with George Mendes, with Fosun, and maybe just uncovering that Fosun didn't have a clue what they were doing. And it was just a case of letting George Mendes run the recruitment for a period of time. But look, I'd love to have inside knowledge of that. That's just my 30,000 foot analysis of it from this side. But yeah, look, that team to me is about as good as you could possibly have. I absolutely think Digne had to be the left back today. I really do. The change of pace that you can have is to bring on Ian Matson there. I just think Digne is the better player currently, and having him in there and a settled back four will be better, I think, for Aston Villa. Allows us to attack, allows Tielemans to go forward a small bit more, allows Cash to go forward on that left and that right hand side, allows Digne to get those crosses in from deep on that left hand side as well, with Kamara maybe pushing back into that back three, or that back 2.5 if you want to playing in that kind of libero position in the front. We know Wolves are going to play as a back three, I would imagine. I haven't seen their team, so we might take a look at that in a moment. But I think that's as good a team as we could possibly put out at the moment. And that's not a slight on Ollie Watkins. That's just as good a team that's in form that we could have hoped for currently at the moment. So so definitely have no tantrums with regards.
Just remind me there, Neil. Am I correct in saying Onana didn't make the bench?
Onana's on the bench.
He's on the bench.
Onana's on the bench. Yeah, he's on the bench. Yeah. So here we go with the Wolves team, just to show. So we've got former villain Sam Johnston in goals. Chachoa Ag. This is the one thing with the Wolves team, is that you need to exercise the tongue before you get going to pronouncing some of the names. Chachoa Agbadu and Mosquera and Totti and Muller Wolf, who we know actually that's going to be the back five. Andre and João Gomez, who are two very good players, I will say. Those players will move on, and they will have brilliant careers. They will likely move on, I would say, this year at some stage. Two really, really good players. Bellegarde, who's a big, who's a decent player as well. John Arias, who came in from was it Palmeiras, I think it was, after the Club World Cup. And then they've got the big beanpole in Strand Larsen up top, who was linked with a £50 million move to Newcastle. And we know that he can get on a hot streak and score goals, albeit he hasn't done that so far this season. And I saw a really interesting stat. The Villa have scored more goals from outside the box than Wolves have scored so far this season. So that was an interesting stat, and let's hope that stays the way that way for the rest of the next 90 minutes in this game as well. Then they've got the two Buenos, Monetzi, should I say, on the bench. They've got Wanky Chan. They've got Arauco there. The big another big striker that they got purchased from Ghent. He was like 24 or 5 million pounds. He's on the bench as well. They've Chiroewa and they've However and Mane on the bench too as well. So they do have some striking talent. They do have some pace coming off that bench in Wanky Chan as well. So look, as I say, they will come. They will look to keep things tight. They will look to catch us on the break, trying to get long balls up to Strand Larsen and John Arias to to come onto the knockdowns there along with Bellegarde. But Villa that's why I think Villa will keep Kamara at home, keep that back 3 or 2.5 as best as they can, and it will allow us then to engage them with our fullback like we did. We played against Muller Wolf last year for AZ Alkmaar, and we actually targeted him quite a lot. And I think can't remember, was it McGinn that played out in that right hand side when we played him? I think it might have been. And he gave him fits. He just literally stood on top of him for the whole day. McGinn did, and didn't allow him clear that ball. So, whatever we did to get in behind them for AZ Alkmaar, it should be. We would be hoping that we can just rinse and repeat this again today, because I seem to remember us giving him fits last year when we played him.
Yeah. Look, there's nothing there that worries me or gives me any anxiety about the game today. We've just got to inflict the game we have done over the last 30-odd games at Villa Park with only 1 defeat. And I think we can absolutely go and win the game and win it handsomely. But as I said, accept the 1-0, accept any type of victory, we just got to be consistent and get the points on the board and keep ourselves in touch and distance going into what's going to be a tough December for everybody. But just concentrate on today, get the 3 points today against the bottom team who hasn't been performing well, and let's get through this nice and easy with an early goal and keep them back in their box.
Absolutely, exactly, 100%. Paddy, give me what's your hot take, stone cold take, whatever you want to call it. Like, what would you give me something that you think is going to happen in this game today?
I think Wolves are going to score, but I think we're going to score 3.
Okay. So you just give a prediction of us winning 3-1.
Yeah. Well, then a lot of your predictions are going to say that they won't score, but I think they will. Probably late on. We've a habit of conceding those late on when we're 2-0 up or 3-0 up. We have been in this season, so I'm expecting a goal, but I expect Marlon to score at least 1 today as well.
Yeah, I'm going to go to defender scores again. I'm going to keep saying a defender's going to score. Exactly. I'm going to go with 2. A defender's going to score, and we're going to score a penalty, but a defender won't take the penalty. There we go. That's going to be my take for today. So you're going with a 3-1 win, Paddy, as well, are you? Because I just conscious that you probably need to run off. I see a bag stunk over your shoulder there. You probably need to run off to Stephen in a minute. So I'm anxious to get your prediction before you need to run.
Yeah, 3-1, handy victory, 3-0 up, concede late. We'll all be happy heading into the midweek fixture. But most important thing, get the points on the board, get the win, keep the pressure on the top 4, and we'll all be happy going into work tomorrow morning, especially those that have to deal with those of the custard-coloured persuasion.
Exactly, 100%. I'll leave you go, Paddy. I'll let you get there because I'll get you keep your eyes out there, and we'll chat to you in the post match anyway when you're afterwards, and hopefully we'll be talking about a Villa win.
Perfect.
Up to Villa. All the best. We'll see you. Yeah, Paddy's just on. Say his son is playing in a final there today, so he's just waiting for him to give him his gear bag. So I don't want him to be delayed here while being on this. But yeah, looking at some of your comments there, I'll come to some of those and we'll get them. So first of all, thanks so much to Roost AVFC, a 12-month member. Thank you so much. Come on, Villa boys, smash the Ams. And Paul Miller as well, being a member for 21 months. You must have been day 1 member, I would say, Paul, when we opened up membership on the channel. So really thankful for that. And he says, keep up the good work, lads. Also, I want to say hello to Black Country Villain, to Afex Ryu as well, is in here, and he's going with an early 3-0 Villa prediction as well. Or else are we? Anna Grady says hello back to you, Anne. And up the Villa says M55 MPW, and I know who that is, but I just can't remember. All the handles have changed. Up the Villa to you too. Afternoon, David Dwyer. Afternoon, Damien as well. And hello back at you again, Villain Forever too. Michael Huggins in the house. Good afternoon to you, Michael Huggins, and Flange in the house as well. Saying good afternoon, you lot, and up the mighty Villa. David Dams is here as well, and so is Real Villa. Thank you so much, guys, for joining. I'm going to scroll down here and I'm going to see some of your texts on the actual the lineup as well. So Owen McMahon says, I would rather Watkins was starting, assuming Wolves played a back 3. I think we should have 2 up front to stretch them. Bruna is the king, and hopefully we smash them. Yeah, the more I suppose, look, once again, we don't have any inside information in this podcast, but when like Dan Burdell mentioned on his podcast that Ollie Watkins is dealing with an injury that potentially may need something done to it in January. And if that is the case, and that's, as I say, that's all I have to go on. But if that is the case, managing minutes is going to be important, specifically when we've got all those games over the December. So I can see probably more of a rotation in that area now. So it's to me, I would love Watkins to be 100% fit and scoring goals like he has been over the last 2 years. But even me, the conductor of the Watkins fan bus, I'm at the stage now whereby the team is really important. Winning as we're winning, like we win today, we go to 7 wins out of 8, I think, in the Premier League, which is bloody bonkers when you think about it. That's title winning stuff. That's 2 point what? 2 points. Oh, basic maths, 2.89 points per game out of that period, I think. Something along those lines. Somebody will have a better calculation in their mind than I will, I would imagine. That's ridiculous for him. And to keep that form going is like that's intimidating form. So like teams will look at that and go, like Brighton, maybe not Brighton, but you know what I'm saying is teams will look at it and go, geez, we're going to a team who was only lost once in the last 8. And I know people will say, yeah, we shouldn't have lost to Liverpool, but Liverpool at Anfield, regardless, Liverpool at Anfield, they're always going to catch somebody at some stage there, and it just always happens to be us. But like win today, and I think it's 7 out of 8, if not 8 out of 9. That's a ridiculous rate of point scoring at a time when we bloody needed it, because as I've seen a lot of people who said we gave the league a 5-game head start, but we have to win today. We still have nothing won, obviously, regardless of Wolves' poor form. Nothing is won, and we just have to go and win there today. And if it means playing Malin up top and Ollie Watkins coming off the bench, well, then so be it. And hopefully Malin scores a hat-trick today, because we need a focal point to start scoring at some stage. And Malin building on his 2 goals during the week, albeit against a rotten bad defence, I think is good management, I think, from Unai Emery as well. Where are we as well? Yeah, that's a good point as well, Joe Keaton. It says we may add Watkins to play 2 strikers to switch things up mid-game if we need to. Yeah, I think potentially if we need to, and there's a high possibility we may need to as well, based on how we do play against it when teams play 10 at the back or 11 at the back. We don't fare well against that. So potentially there is our change of, I won't say change of pace, but our change of focus. Maybe you bring him on. But obviously Unai Emery thinks potentially that if they're playing with the wing backs, that Malin we can get in behind them, and if we can get in behind the full backs, which I think that we can, then Malin can get in behind that back 3 as well. So it will be interesting to see what the story is there. Andy says, how good is Aston Villa's all is claret, all is blue video? Proper production, that absolutely. And you know what's funny, when you went through the blooper video, or not the blooper video, or this was the behind the scenes video more so than that, the amount of kit that they had to film it was like proper production. And I'm a sucker for all that stuff. I'm a sucker for everything Christmas. I was lucky enough to have to never have had a bad Christmas as a kid. And then when you see that, that type of an advert, it really brings back how good Christmas is for children. And I get really nostalgic for that. And I would still give, as a 40-year-old child, anything to be that young young kid running up and leaving the envelope on the boardroom table for Unai Emery. So yeah, I'm a sucker for all that stuff. Sucker for John Lewis ads. Yeah, I am. Look, as if the beard doesn't give it away, I'm big on Christmas. So I love that. Absolutely that. Love that, should I say. Where are we here as well? I'm just scrolling down. 17-0 Chris Kelly is gone for already, and no less. Okay. Can anybody tell me what odds you get on 17-0 for Aston Villa today? DMD Ferry is saying Malin hat-trick incoming. I think he will score. I want him to score. I want our strikers to stack goals on top of each other in games. It's vitally important that you can get a focal point, whether it be a striker or whether it be a winger or whether it be an attacking midfielder, scoring multiple games in a row, because just the confidence that a team gets from that, of having a focal point and the confidence the striker themselves get from that is just immeasurable. It's the sports psychology aspect that you can't psychologize, if that's a word. You know, you can strategize, you can what's it called? You can do like almost simulations, mind mapping and stuff like that, or whatever it is. You know, visualizations is the word I'm trying to say, of you scoring goals in sequence, in games in sequence. But you can't do the actuality of, okay, there it is on the paper, and the reality of it. So you can trick yourself into thinking that you're a prolific striker, but it's only until you actually become a prolific striker that the belief actually gets there. So that's very important for somebody like that, specifically a striker. And for somebody like Malin, you know, he's had to bide his time. He's had a lot of people say it, like, and I've said it, and a lot of people, and I will probably continue to say it as well, and until he makes that number 9 shirt his own, is that, you know, sometimes his best ability is his availability, but also his biggest hindrance is his versatility. You know, the fact he can play as that second striker, he can play off the right hand side, or he can play in the 9. You know, that's been a great ability for him, but it's also potentially held him back as well, because he's never gotten an opportunity to play in that 9 role. And let's see him there for a couple of games in a row, and let's hope he scores. As I say, if he continues to score, as I say, that's a good thing for Aston Villa. Absolutely is a good thing for Aston Villa. Joe Keating is saying a goal from Power Konza would be great. Well, let me tell you that Ezri Konza is the second highest scorer in Premier League history for Aston Villa against Wolves, apparently. I saw that for AVFC Stata. After Juan Pablo Angel, who has 4, Ezri Konza has 2. So 2 goals against Wolves. So let's get another one today, Ezri, for sure. Let's get another one today. Paul Clark is miffed by the 4:05 kickoff. It's really annoying him more than is at all rational. You're not the first person that's mentioned that to me. That, like, why not have it at 2:00? I genuinely don't understand, considering unless it was for a TV time or whatever. Has anyone found out why it is 2:05? I have no idea. Unless it's for an international market or whatever the case is. But what difference that 5 minutes makes, I don't know. Considering that you've got other games that are starting at 2 today, as far as I'm aware, that makes no sense to me. Really, really doesn't. Where else are we? Guys, do you want to start putting in your score predictions? And I'll get to them in a moment, and we get through. Paul Clark also says, I'm not saying your beard is getting really white, Neil, but am I on the good list this year? Well, a lot of things, like, I might be if any of you have seen Tim Allen in the Santa Claus, I think something like that must have happened to me, because the belly's got quite round. The face has gotten, I'm of stout stature anyway, but the beard is getting really, really grey and longer. And I've developed an absolute, probably almost borderline heroin addiction to mince pies over the last week. So I think I might have, you know, the same thing that happened Tim Allen must have happened to me at some stage. And maybe I'm still convinced I'm going to get tapped on the shoulder by some elf at some stage, and I'm going to be whisked away to the North Pole to do a great job on the 24th of December this year, because I'm displaying all the symptoms of a Santa Claus currently at the moment. Cash asks a good question. Neil, do you remember you and Paddy did that bit during previews of whom you take at Villa from the Oppo? Whom would you take from Wolves? It's a great question. I'm going to bring up their team here just to remind me. I know we're pretty stacked in that midfield area, but one of Andre and Joe Gomez, they're really good players. Really good players. I would have, probably, of the two of them, I would probably take, it's much of a muchness, I'd probably take Andre, maybe, of those two, because they are good. They're two very good players. I know we're stacked in that position, but they to me are the two best Wolves players with superb potential, I think, as well. Right, I think we're getting to the point where we've got, oh yes, there we are. Sai has a fiver to score and Cashy scoring at any time. So hopefully my defender scoring prediction does come true for you, Sai, for sure. So we're going to start off. Brendan Miller goes for 2-0, hopefully, and Ollie gets one off the bench. And Audrey Lynch is going for 3-0 Villa. Audrey, who was pictured by, was it Daniel Lambert photograph, sorry, I butchered his name. I can't remember the photographer's name, but pictured in one of our For the Love of Paul McGrath hats. So great to see that, Audrey. So he's going for 3-0. Garrett is going for 3-1. Flange is going 4-1. John Steele is going for 2-0. Hookah is going for 3-0. 2-0, says Martin. Fuzz going for 3-1. Green Binde is going for 3-2 to Wolves. Joe Keating is going 3-0. Rooster is going for 3-1 Villa. Paul is going for 4-0. Ross is going for 3-0 and McGinn to score a cracker. David Dwyer is going for 3-0. And Ronan Ward is going for 3-1. Chris is going for 4-1. Michael Huggins going 3-0 Villa. Elizabeth is going for 2-1. Sabrina is going for 4-0. Sabrina Rogers, any relation, Sabrina, to our fantastic attacking midfielder himself? 3-0 says Jur. Aaron is going for 3-0 as well. A horrible 10-2-1 Villa. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised with something like that as well. In your head, change man is going for 3-0. 1-1 is says Kieran. Ethan is going for 2-0. Matt is going for 3-1. The concerned Villa, or the converted, Villa wife says 3-1, and Cash is saying 3-0. 17-0. Chris is sticking to his guns, and Paul Tomlinson is going with 1-0. And I, Neil Dunworth, of sound body and mind, is going to go for a 2-0 Aston Villa win today. Whether that makes me of sound body and mind or not, I'll let you guys decide, and we'll see if that is the case at the final whistle. But look, it's a big game today for Aston Villa, huge game, and I know we've been saying that. It's funny, one of the comments under one of our videos recently was, how come every game is a big game? You guys keep on saying it's a big week and every game is a big game, and it is because of the start to the season that we had. Essentially the kind of blunt first 5 games in the league has made these games more pivotal, and we're on such a good run, and you want to keep those streaky runs going. And look, Unai Emery should be called Unai Streaky at this moment, because like as his time at Aston Villa can be defined by huge streaks of winning runs or point getting runs that he's been on. And obviously the fact he's built Villa Park into a fortress, that's what gives me the confidence that today will be something that Aston Villa will be able to chalk up on the board as a 3-0 win. As a 2-0 win, at 3 points, should I say. And hopefully then that will bring us to, solidify our position within the top 4, create more distance between us and teams below us. Hopefully we have something like a Chelsea-Arsenal 1-1 draw today. Keeps us within the hunt of getting above Chelsea and Manchester City as well. And bring on December, bring on the tough fixture list or the condensed fixture list of December, and see where we lie at the end of it. But I prefer to be looking towards December with a 3 points today, and I'm sure that Unai Emery is doing exactly the same thing. So this is a big game for Villa. I'm surprised it's not on TV. I know Wolves have been dire this year, but I'm surprised it's not on TV, because it's the only West Midlands derby of sorts in the Premier League so far that we can have this year. So for me, I think that it's the fact that it's on at 2:05 as well makes I don't know. It makes a big difference to some people, but it's just a strange time. But I think that that this will be covered. We'll get lots and lots of eyeballs within the West Midlands, and you can be bloody sure Villa drop a clanger in this one, that it'll be wall-to-wall talk sport about Villa for at least 4.5 minutes, which will piss everybody off until then they start talking about Liverpool, or Spurs, or Man United, or something else, then just to goad their listeners into listening to the radio show again. But that's neither here nor there. It's a must-win for Aston Villa today. I think the historic poor run of form that Wolves are on at the moment, coupled with the fact that Aston Villa are on a really great run of form. We need, if we are this perennial European club as we have been in the last 3 years, if we are serious about making that 4 years in a row being in Europe, which is monumental for the club, Villa have to win today. It's non-negotiable. Have to win today. Find a way to do it. Don't have to be arrogant. Don't have to be cocky about it, but you have to win some way, shape, or form. Get those points on the board, and then see where the wonderful month of December takes us. So I am, yes, sorry, it is on Sky. Apologies, guys. Yeah, it is on Sky. I was looking feverishly there. I was looking at the listings, and I had overlooked it. So if anybody is wondering why I said it wasn't on TV, that's just my old eyes failing me. My old 40-year-old eyes failing me here at the moment. So it is there. Right, I'm going to leave you guys go. Get the mince pies in while we're waiting. And we will be back here with a post-match podcast directly after the game, hopefully talking about a Villa 3 points and a Villa win in this game versus Wolves. So we will see you then. In the meantime, everyone, stay safe, stay healthy, and all that's left to say is up the Villa.